This podcast contains real stories, adult language, and occasional chaos. Some content may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised, especially if you're easily offended, overly nostalgic, or still living in a dorm.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Dorm Disorder. Before we get started, let's not forget, please like, share, and most of all, subscribe. Subscribing, honestly, is something we really need to grow this. And we need you guys to go ahead and click that button and you'll get notified any episodes that we drop. Every Wednesday, 8 a.m., boom, it's going to already be there popping up on your phone. I'm your host this week, Mike, and I'm always with my great partner.
Yo, Dan Glorious 9-4.
And our guest this week is Wardell Ringold, the class of 1990. We're going to go a little bit back.
The class of 1990.
Yes.
Thank you for being with us, Wardell. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we always like to get started. Tell us how you got to Girard and, let us know your story.
Ooh. Well, I remember I was a student at a school called Pennypacker in West Oak Lane, elementary school, Pennypacker. And after the fourth grade, going into the fifth grade, they were trying to figure out where I was going to go for fifth grade. I think they wanted to transfer me to a school named Masterman.
Okay.
Because I guess I was excelling in academics. Like they used to give us levels tests. And this was before any kind of standardized tests, the SATs or anything we filled the dots out with. They were just levels tests. So I bust every level test they gave me. I was in mentally gifted. They put me in the MG program. I don't know if it was a program or class, but I was in MG. So they're trying to figure out where I'm going to go for the fifth grade. And there was another student at Pennypacker who I knew and who wound up coming to Girard. His mom showed my mom the brochure, the GC brochure. So one day I come home and the brochure is on the glass table, living room table. And our mom is telling me and my brother, look at this brochure because I'm thinking about sending you to the school. And it looked like a camp. Everything inside the brochure looked like a camp,
happiness.
Fun place to go. You see the kids having fun playing on horses and at a playground and, all different things. You also see kids at a table studying, but you skip past that picture because
right.
get to the fun part. So, one day we came to Girard College for the test. So that was one step closer to getting into the school, like it's really going to happen. And, I don't really remember if the testing happened or when it happened. I know it happened, but I don't know. Was it during my fourth grade or in between fourth and fifth summer? I don't really remember when the test happened. But we got the notification that we were going to go to Girard College that next school year, but it was a strike. Dan, you remember?
Yeah, another strike, baby.
Yeah. So before coming to Girard, went to another school, and this school was called Harrington. It was at the corner of my grandmother's block in Southwest Philly. Just waiting for Girard to get off strike and reopen. And once it did, I was in there in the fifth grade.
Now, your grandma played a critical role in your life. What did she provide to you through your youth and upbringing?
Yeah, through my youth and upbringing, my grandma, she was like the glue to the family, which I think most grandmas are in every family. Mm-hmm. She was very supportive of my mom during her times of, I would say hardship, because she was dealing with me and my brother. She was fresh into a divorce, because I remember being born and my mom and dad was married.
Right, same.
So, I saw them going through the divorce stages and everything. And my grandma was basically there to make sure my mom didn't sink.
Gotcha.
So, there were times when we lived with our grandmother. And one of the times was right, as we were entering Girard College.
Okay.
So grandma was in the picture.
Yeah, my grandma was just one of those old school grandmas that by this point in time, she didn't beat the kids no more. Like, so it was all right being one of the grandkids. If you ask my aunts, nah, they got their butts kicked. But my grandma, but she was always, she was the Sunday dinner cooker. It was always over at her house. She really was like the matriarch of the family.
Yeah,
like she
our
took all of
grandma
us.
would come and get us and make us go to church, on Sundays. Come wake the whole house up. My mom is there, but she'll come wake everybody up, mom included. Come on, we're going to church, to her church, all the way back to Southwest. And we lived in West Oak Lane, so that was like 2 hours just to get to the church.
Right.
Yeah.
So, she was on us about that.
So one of the biggest things about your class, 1990, you all were part of some very key changes that occurred during the school. You got Steel and Garnet Day kind of changing its name. What it changed its name to was because of we changed the name, or we tried to. You all were instrumental in changing the name of the athletic program, or our nickname, from being, look at me when I tell you this, Hummers. We were the Hummers. And that don't work right when we got girls now going to the school. You can't be called the Hummers.
Yeah.
I mean, for us, it just didn't fit us. We didn't feel like the name fit us or anybody at Girard anymore during these days. We're into not really the mid 80s anymore. When we're having these thoughts, we're like 10th grade, 11th grade, we're trying to think about how it's going to be for us.
Right.
Because we didn't want the wool senior jackets that everybody else had. We were already influenced by the starter jackets.
Right.
So we wanted a starter jacket for our senior jacket. We all agreed, like all of our class, like we look at some of the history, and it's not to disrespect anybody or any previous class or the traditions or anything that they had. We just felt like it didn't fit for us.
Right.
It didn't fit, anymore. Like we didn't wear knickers anymore, the high pants, we got different pants for us. We got whatever we felt was different. We fought for the change because that was something they let us know we can do. If you didn't want it, ask for a change and like try to go about it in a good way. And we went about it in a good way and got the change. So, that was something that our class kind of stood out for, because anything that we wanted, we kind of like influenced the change or put the steps forward to make that change happen in a positive way. Some things that we stood out against, didn't go a positive way, and we got called out for that too. We had meetings with the president about things we disrupted, but that was us, trying to trailblaze a change.
So talk about something. The biggest change obviously was from the Hummers, but how did we get to be where we got to as becoming Cavaliers?
Well, I mean, besides us not wanting to be Hummers, just
That's enough.
Thinking of a catchier name or something that kind of described who we were, who we felt like we were. So we went to the textbook, we went to the, the research, and figured out a Cavalier was like someone that was like a fighter, a rebel.
Right.
We felt like we were the rebels of the school. We had Public Enemy going on during these times, Malcolm X, like just knowing who you are, like having some kind of strength, some kind of individual strength and stability, and all of us doing that collectively, we felt like we were the Cavaliers. Like that just stood out as a name for us. So we voted within our class and we said this is who we wanted to be. So we put it forward to the president to see if we could get this changed. Like, we were thinking about it mainly for us. We weren't thinking about it for the rest of the school.
Right.
But it turned out to be for, everyone after us. So that it started with us.
So didn't the school added a couple of different names? Because I remember voting. Like I do remember voting.
Yeah, it was in the school newspaper.
Yes. So we did vote. And for the life of me and Mike cannot remember any other name that was on that list.
Well, I think they probably had to have different options.
Yeah.
Instead of it just being the Cavalier option, we supported the most. So whatever other names they threw on the table, we only worried about the Cavaliers.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
you know, I don't really remember any other
Yeah,
options either.
I don't know who would remember.
And you know, I'm seeing this as only a fight that we wanted because, you know, I don't remember the class of '89 trying to fight for any changes or anything
Right.
the way we did. You know, in '91, I could think some of the '91 class felt the way we felt because they were with us. They were unified with us, especially through sports. I can remember like Caesar, Patrick Swartz, you know, certain dudes from the class of '91 who were probably the leaders of their class,
Yeah.
who supported, you know, things we were doing with our class. So that was kind of a connection. Haywood Campbell, you know, I can't
Oh yeah.
remember everybody, but there were certain individuals that rolled with us. Casey Pearson, you know, there were certain guys that felt the way we felt. So they might have helped push the change we were trying to see.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was so long ago. Like, it was like,
Yeah.
you know.
But I mean, it's been a lasting legacy that you all have put forward. I mean, everybody loves some good Cavalier gear. If anything, I was a little pissed off that Adam Sandler couldn't actually keep the name of our school in his little movie where they changed the floor. They changed. I was
Yeah.
like, I know that that's a GC up there, not this Saint whatever is
Yeah.
going on up there.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So, your class was also, you were part of like helping set up the Akiba committee. You want to tell us what that was and how that came to be?
Okay. Akiba was a school that we had, you know, we played sports against, and we know
Yep.
it as a Jewish Hebrew heritage school. Like,
Yep.
you know, it was like a school for Jewish people.
Yep.
And during these times in the late '80s, there was a lot of racial, like, we wanted to unify and get racial, like, understanding. We wanted to know about their culture. We wanted them to know about our culture as, you know, Black students, African American, whatever the title you wanted to call it. That was being bounced around a lot during those years.
Mhm.
So really it was for clarity and stability and understanding. So, you know, instead of us just always playing them in sports, it came to a point where we wanted to learn their culture.
Mhm.
So since they weren't too far away from us, we reached out to them to see, was it any way we can, like, you know, have them come to our school, we could come to their school, we could learn, you know, whatever we could learn about each other.
Right.
Let's share the time and experience through school and different programs and put it together ourselves.
Right.
So, you know, it wasn't just our class, but it was like whoever wanted to participate.
Mhm.
But we spearheaded it, and it became like a group of us that would go to Akiba, sit with them, you know, do projects and things with them at their school. We invite them to Girard College, and whatever group they sent to our school did the same thing. So that became the Akiba Committee, the first group of us that would go to Akiba to learn about Jewish heritage and whatever they wanted to teach us about their culture. And, you know, it was the same for them learning about Black students, because it was mostly the Black thing that they wanted to learn about.
Right.
You know, they knew about, you know, not saying white people were different.
Regularly
they knew
white
that
people.
already. So, you know, it was just unifying the backgrounds and the cultures.
Right.
And it was called the Akiba Committee.
That's dope. That's dope to like even start that. And I don't even know if that's still going on, but
Yeah, I wonder how long it lasted.
It lasted at least
to
through I
my
was
end.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
So
was there for a while.
there was a junior school teacher. I'm gonna call her out because she was awesome. Miriam Foreman. She definitely took because there was always a teacher involved in stuff that we did, but she was Jewish. She took the reins of that and definitely nurtured it. My first Seder dinner that I ever attended was at Akiba. It was probably about at least a busload of us.
Yeah.
That went to Akiba. They had a Seder dinner in their cafeteria, and that was my first one. I didn't even know what a Seder was. That was my first yarmulke I got from going to visiting Akiba, and I kept that joint for probably like straight up like 15 years. It went until my mom passed away, and then I had to clear out the house that I got rid of that yarmulke. But it was definitely eye-opening because one of my best friends is Jewish, and I think that that helped me to understand her and her culture and her family. I'm extremely close with today, and that was a critical moment for me and learning about them. You know,
Yeah.
Yet another thing I missed out on.
And I think that was
Never took
important.
that advantage.
I think that was important because it was like a further step or a further like something we can accomplish in the educational way at Girard College, because everything there was mainly for our education,
Yeah.
or for us to learn from and to carry on later. And you know, we put the energy into that. You know, it wasn't really like a Girard system. It was something
Right.
we wanted to do.
Yeah, the school
As the
didn't make you,
students.
y'all did it.
We did it. So, and it was also driven by the climate of things that were happening in that time. Like it was, you know, a whole lot of racial divide, racial unity, you know, all of that stuff was happening in those days of the late 80s going into 90 and 91. And, you know, that's what I remember the most, just of those times.
Yeah.
So you mentioned Public Enemy earlier.
Mhm.
So you're talking about, you know, rap was becoming big through the 1980s, and we all grew up with it.
Right.
Yes, we did.
But you two guys were there for when it really impacted the student body.
hmm
Why don't you go ahead and tell us your perspective, how it really impacted the student body?
Well, I saw it in the way I saw it affect the student body, and I'm starting with my class. It's just, you know, it affected the way we looked at the world. You know, just the way the world changed. We saw like the changes happening, and a lot of it, not just with hip hop, but with music and entertainment. You know, politics too. But you know, these were the things that impacted us, that we were there as a group and absorbed together. So, you know, to me, that was like how it affected us as a group together. You know, anything that we saw it together as a group. So we got to share our feelings about it. And like, you know, it affected us first, and then we saw how to the rest of the world.
Right.
You know, and I'm saying hip hop because these were a lot of the things happening, but
Right.
it was more than that. You know,
Right.
hip hop was just the name of the generation or the whole entire, you know, conglomerate of people, you know, the movement or whatever you want to call it. You know, I think it was bigger than hip hop, but we're saying hip hop. And I don't think hip hop was like, you know, the real term of it, but we're in that time. So that's
Right.
what it's being labeled as. But I want to also say, like, you know, different things were happening in the school, which brought us together. You know, like a popping contest happened. And, you know, it's not.
Why
just
you getting offside, Dan? Why you getting all red over there?
It's not. It was more about the moment itself than the individuals.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The individuals help make the moment happen.
Right.
The moment is a rememberable moment for those who were there, who shared the experience. You know, the people that involved helped make the moment happen.
Right.
And I think the moment itself was bigger than the people, but it happened because people recognizing what was happening in the world,
Right.
hip hop in the world. So popping and this expression of dance happened in our school, where it was a contest and it was recorded and everything. The footage is not available to us because of who's responsible for the footage. Didn't make it available to us, but it should be.
Right.
Because we made that. Well, you helped make that. People that participated helped make that, and it should be available to you. I'm thinking it should be available to us as Girard because it happened there.
Yeah.
But, you know, the people that participated definitely should have it because it's their life. Something they did that they shared with us. I remember it. That's why I hold on to it in my heart and in my brain, because I know what it was. If you didn't see it, I can't, you know, it's hard to explain it to you.
Right.
It really happened, and it really, you know, it meant something because it's people that participated. It's the people that made the moment. The moment is important, but the people are too. And I want to name some of the people, but by me naming them, you don't know because you didn't see the footage.
Right.
Like, you know, the footage.
Well, I mean, one of them is right here with
Well,
us.
hold
though.
on. I appreciate your sentiment, but if I go the rest of my life not seeing me dance again, I'm okay with that. I'm good with it because it was a comedic moment for everyone. And I did talk about this earlier on social media, but yeah, the moment I think sometimes we forget when we're behind that wall, we don't leave. We're not leaving the world.
Right.
So, and I think when hip hop and rap started to become part of Gerard's culture, a bigger part, I think the students were receptive of it, and the school, by letting us have that popping contest, showed us that they were receptive of what was changing outside those walls. And that's what I think was the biggest moment, that they put on this big production. And it was the whole school. The whole school was involved, which was rare, that you would have the entire school out on that junior school playground.
And this was in my first year.
Yeah.
So, this led me to high expectations or bigger. Like, if they did this on such a big scale now, what's going to happen next year and the year after and the year, but there were key moments and key events and different things that, for me, that just helped reinforce my wanting to stay at Girard.
Okay.
Like, there's always going to be another activity to look forward to. There's going to be something big happening eventually, whether we plan it, whether one of the older students help plan it or put it together, something that we're going to benefit from because we like it or love it. And, that would be like the dances later on. Whoever knew to invite DJ Cash Money.
Let's go.
Whoever knew to invite all of these people that we looked up to to come there and perform for us and, give us whatever spark of energy it gave us to do the things we will eventually do in our lives.
Right.
So it's just a bunch of moments, like, and really it reflects to whatever the Girard experience is for you or me. A bunch of moments that we remember, tied in with school, tied in with learning, tied in with surviving, tied in with crying, bleeding, laughing, whatever happened to you in the wall.
Now, did you perform? I just want to ask real quick. Would you perform? Or just my dumb ass was out there like can't dance?
Well, no, I didn't perform in the popping contest, but later on in my Girard time, I would go on and be involved in a talent show, here or there. But, it wasn't something that I was really like taking serious because me and my guys, we just trying to laugh and get laughed, be the class clowns and stuff like that. So.
Did you ever tell that story here at the Dorm Disorder podcast, or did you tell it on other places?
I did not. It's just a very embarrassing story.
No, it's time. It's time.
So the way I remember it, we were getting ready to go outside. We were lined up, and there was two of my section mates were really, really good dancers. They were considered probably the best dancers on that junior school side that we were on. And something happened. One of them got in trouble and only one could perform. I'll bring his name up again because I dropped his name on episode 0, Myron Cousins. And Myron could dance. And man, he signed up as a 2-person, so he couldn't change like there was singles, there was doubles, there was groups, there was like different categories that you could sign up for. And he signed up for him and his friends. So now he don't have anybody to dance with him. And I'm 50 now. I still don't know why I raised my hand to volunteer. And it should have tipped me off that nobody else raised their hand to volunteer. So he's trying to teach me how to dance. We're in the bathroom and he's trying to show me what to do. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Try to show me who's routine. And I can't dance. Like, you can show me, and especially popping, like, get out of here. It's crazy. Like, I'm like trying to move my arms like this. I'm like, so but I went out there so that he could go out there and perform. And we got 4th place, but I think more it was people felt bad or just thought it was funny and they just gave us those ribbons. But I swear I broke Myron's heart that day because I think he knew they were going to get 1st place if he would have danced with the person that he was supposed to. So, it was, I still wake up with cold sweat sometimes thinking about that because that was an embarrassing moment, and shit at Girard don't go away too quick. So that lived with me till I got to middle school.
I don't know, Dan. to me, like, because I kind of remember, I remember a whole lot. Like, I remember a lot. Just from being in Girard, a lot of weird things and a lot of factual things and a lot of things that made me feel ways good and bad. And just to me, that kind of like sealed your legacy. Like, you know, to me,
There you go.
that made you like you always was a real, you know, a real dude, like a stand-up head first kind of guy, like not somebody that was quiet or, you know, had to be pushed into the thing to get involved. Like you have heart and spirit. And it came out more and more and more like throughout the years. And I know we were in different classes, but your name itself was enough for me, you know, to pay attention to. Like, because I know you came in with me. Like, I remember the guys that I came in with.
Yeah.
You know, we were in different grades, but, you know, whenever I heard your name about something, I knew it was some kind of action with it. You know, not just being quiet and not just, you know, being passive. You know, even if you didn't hit the hardest, you was swinging. You was hitting. You was doing something, not just not participating. So, you know, I always felt like, you know, you was the man with that.
I appreciate that.
You didn't hold back.
Just make his head any bigger. I mean, it's already going to fill up the room.
It's real. Like, I really say this because, you know, and over the years and over the time of knowing Dan and understanding Dan and, you know, even tying it to his background and everything he accomplished to get to where you are now, you know, all of that is your story. And, you know, I feel it. Like, I feel close to it. I feel attached to it because it's similar to mine, you know, in a lot of ways. So, you know, that makes me feel like you part black. You know, I'm part white or whatever. Like, we're the same. Like, nothing really separates us except maybe age. But, you know, that's another Gerard quality. Like, you know, it makes us the same. So.
No, for sure.
Yeah, a few years later, I guess would be, not even that many years, but maybe many, some would say. So we had a talent show when I first got to the school, and I think that would have been, it probably wasn't the first year. It might have been the second year, but no, I think it was. I think it was still the year you were there, 89.
Okay.
And I came in last place in the talent show.
Was it a middle school or like what, a whole entire
I think
school?
it would have been just middle school. I don't know if it was the whole school. I think it was just middle school. And I got the great idea that I was going to lip sync Kool Mo D. I don't even remember which song it was, but it was the one that he had the saxophones playing in the background. So I convinced two of my classmates.
The money the girls got.
Yeah. Nah, they want the money. Yeah, that joint. So I got one of my classmates and one of your later classmates. One of Jill's later classmates to do a dance routine behind me. Well, I was going to lip sync this, John. And they put together a dance routine, and I had two dudes in trench coats and sunglasses, like doing the saxophone work in the back. And I'm lip syncing the words or whatever. And I know it's going quite poorly. So I decide I'm going to splash this up a little bit. And I jump off the stage to do a split. And everybody was like, you was just there and then you weren't.
Did you have a trench coat on?
No, I did not. But needless to say, I injured myself quite well. Jumping off the stage, doing a split. And I don't know, I think I did like the Running Man and then jump back up on the stage. Because I couldn't dance either, to be honest with you.
I mean, is a split something you've done before, or was that just a spur of the moment?
It was completely on a whim. I just knew that this was not doing well. I could hear the snickers and jeers. But whatever. I had the heart to go out there and do something.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was a newbie.
Yep.
And I was now known for falling off the stage.
You did that in your first year?
That was my first year. My very, very first year.
Yep.
And I was known for now falling off the stage.
That is.
That's a lot.
It got me no props. It got me nothing.
It probably got them off of calling you a newbie, though.
It got people to laugh at me for not being a newbie, just laugh at me for something different. So I was the quiet kid. So, you know, to do that was
yeah, that's cool.
It was
that
about
could take you out of being a newbie.
Yeah. Well, we had some more controversial times while you were there as well. And one of those times, we had something that was called the Bum Rush Squad. That face tells it all.
Yeah, man. Again, like, you know, when you're speaking in Girard College terms, there are experiences, like a lot of experiences, a lot of moments, a lot of things you endure that you get through, that you overcome.
Mhm.
You know, you put behind, you know, you suppress some of these things. If you were a victim of it, you don't like go through your life, keep talking about it. I wasn't a victim of it, so I can talk
Right.
about it. But, you know, I see how some people, how it affected them. You know, people that I know today still from things that happened to them in the school. Trauma, if you want to call it trauma. But anyway, yeah, the Bum Rush Squad was active.
So
That
what was it and what happened?
Well, that Bum Rush Squad was just excessive horseplay. Horseplay that continued and it got out of hand.
Mhm.
Out of hand to the point where a couple people were physically injured. And it was just like, you know, people wouldn't stop doing it. They didn't know when to stop.
Right.
So when it got out of line and just too many people start getting hurt, they call it the Bum Rush Squad. It was Bum Rush because at any point in time, somebody can bum rush you. When I say bum rush, it's not one, but maybe 2, 3, 4 people just jumping on you.
Right.
You know, they might punch you, they might throw you in the bushes, you know, they might do something to you that you didn't want to happen, but the whole intention is like we having fun. You didn't know this fun was planned on our end, but you're going to be a participant, you know, once we put our hands on you. And really that was it. Like you violating somebody's, you know, happiness or whatever, however they wanted to feel. You grabbing them, you bum rushed them, the Bum Rush Squad.
Yeah.
And it was mostly the same people doing it. So they became the Bum Rush Squad. And now it was a couple people that got tied in by association. Maybe they were in 1 or 2 of the situations that happened. They're not really necessarily a part of the root of it, but in order to make it go away, some people got tied in with the part when they started expelling people and kicking them out because of it. So,
But it was a particular event like that. Way I heard it is a student leaving campus and the Bum Rush Squad rolled up on them. And that was kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back.
I mean, I think that could be it because really, you know, I don't really remember the exact, you know, whatever the straw was that broke the camel's back. But I do remember, you know, it was just a bunch of people getting punched on and the school was sick of it.
Yeah.
Know? So they call it the Bum Rush Squad because, you know, you can call it a gang. You could call it some bullies. You could call it, you know, now looking back, just a bunch of dudes acting up that you know, was out of place. You know, you could look at them and tell something was about to happen just by them, you know, sitting there in the group, you know, and we all had on trench coats. This was the first trench coat mafia. You know?
Yeah.
But
The trench coat posse.
yeah, it was bad. It was bad because, you know, when the discipline started to happen, it upset people's parents.
Yeah.
You know, parents got involved where, you know, they don't think their child or student should have got kicked out or detained or whatever discipline happened to them. But, you know, it was just like, you know, the bigger heads had to prevail in this situation because if you didn't, another kid would get hurt. The Bum Rush Squad wasn't taming themselves. They wasn't chilling at all. So somebody had to put an end to it. And that was...
Yeah, I remember the protests outside the gate. Like you'd be coming back on a Sunday and you have to walk through the crowd to get back through the gate because they were outside protesting. So it did reach outside levels.
Yeah. So
and recognition.
Yeah, my first I was going through the process of applying to Girard when all this happened. I'm pretty sure it was like 88 to 89. And I remember going by Girard, driving by because Girard Avenue, you know, it's a busy street.
Yeah.
And I remember, so we couldn't find reference to this,
Mhm.
but I remember this actually being on the 6 o'clock news at one point in time, that a group of kids had been kicked out for jumping another kid, you know. And at the time I was just thinking like, well, you jumped a kid. I mean, you know, get kicked out is the weirdest part. But I think the most enlightening thing that we talked about is how other kids that weren't really involved got roped in.
Yeah, it was a guilty by association thing. And I don't know, it was, you know, I think at that point in time, Girard College had a certain list or a certain few people who they wanted to see going.
Right.
And that might have been their way of getting rid of them. You know, I'm saying that loosely, but I feel like that might have been in the play at that time. And, you know, just again, those were some rough years just in Philadelphia, period.
Yeah.
So, you know, whatever tensions happening outside could have easily leaked into the school because you got guys raging out in all kinds of different forms and fashions. You know, I've seen it. Like, I've seen different dudes raging over different things and because of different things.
Right.
And, you know, I can't say it, but, you know, I've seen the crazy shit, bro.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, of course, this is the Dorm Disorder Podcast, and we would be remiss if we didn't talk about a little bit of dorm disorder. So why don't you go ahead and give us your first go at that?
Oh, my goodness. Well, dorm disorder, my first experience with dorm disorder wasn't something that I would say I participated in or wanted to be a part of because, you know, during that first week, you're figuring out, you know, your school, your routine, the new things that are different. You're adapting and adjusting, trying to get a good night's sleep. And when you finally do, crack, speed stick.
Speed stick.
that was my alarm at like 2 a.m. I don't know who threw it, but when I woke up, it was some guys running around the dorm. You know, they were already in the process of having their dorm disorder, which I was a victim of more than a participant. But, you know, I figured out this is what happens in a boarding school. You know, you got after bedtime activities and jumping on the beds. You know, that was just the beginning of it. You get projectiles, things thrown around. You can wake up bleeding. You know, that was my dorm disorder experience.
You learned real quick not to go to sleep first. Like you stayed.
Oh yeah, you know what?
Stayed up to make sure everybody else was asleep because you just reminded me of a time where we were in dorm disorder and this kid fell asleep and another person, I'm not, you know, no names here, but held a dress shoe 3 feet above his face by the laces and just was like kind of swinging it and then just let it go. And it was like heel toe right to the face.
Man. And he bounced though. He didn't stick around. He just
jumped right
like he gave himself the
pulled
time.
the covers up like he was asleep. And he's waking up and there's a shoe on his bed next to him, like sole down right on the face.
I'm glad that never happened to me.
Yeah, never go to sleep first.
It's been so long since I thought about that simple concept of you can't be the first one to fall asleep.
This concludes part 1 of this episode. Please stay tuned next week for the conclusion. You learned real quick not to go to sleep first.